What's going on, everyone? So we are back again, and my goodness, we have probably the best deck in the entire game, but refitted for set 2 here to talk about. So this is set 2 Boba Green. I know a lot of you have been kind of curious about this. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best, absolute best list. There's definitely some variations that I've gone through already, and depending on what you're fighting, there can be varying different options that you could go for. But there are some really powerful cards nonetheless that do work extremely well in Boba Green. And we're going to talk about those today. Guys, if you want to pick up any of the cards on this list or for any of your set 2 shenanigans, be sure to use my TCG play link in the description down below. Let's talk Boba Green and some of the things that have stayed the same and some of the new stuff. So as for the stuff that has stayed the same, we still have our Greedos, we still have our Shoot First. These are obviously really just solid plays with the extra resources that we get from exhausting Boba Leader. It's also just solid plays in general, gives us the ability to actually activate Boba Leader, like Shoot First, to guarantee something is leaving play. Greedo is just really nice as an early play. We also have things, like the Cartel Spacers, our Super Laser Technicians, our Star Vipers, our 7th Fleet Defenders, our Boba Fetts, all pretty standard stuff, just kind of on curve. Super Laser Tech is really important with something else, as we'll mention in just a moment. I also have 3 copies of Fett's Fire Spray, just pretty standard stuff, and Overwhelming Barrage. These are the powerhouses of Boba Green. These are some of the most powerful things that come down and kind of swap the game into your favor. Fett's Fire Spray at kind of the top of the curve is really, really impactful as it just kind of closes out the game, and Overwhelming Barrage just kind of flips entire board states sometimes, especially on a Boba turn where you Overwhelming Barrage, you get to exhaust a resource, flip Boba, get 2 more resources, then play something like a Star Viper or Boba Fett to follow it up is just a really crazy play. We also have some new cards, and arguably the most important card for this list is Price on Your Head. I've talked about this card a lot. It's just a common, but it is really, really massive. This allows us to play a turn 2 Boba Fett. How do we do that? Well, we Price on Your Head on turn 1 on an opponent's unit, which is not uncommon, by the way. And then turn 2, we ECL out a Super Laser Technician and kill their units, right? They play a Viper Probe Droid. Boom, we're at 5 resources. We get to ready an additional one from Boba Fett. We also get an additional one from Super Laser Tech. So we're actually at 2 resources. We flip Boba, we attack, we have 4 resources. So on turn 2, in an ideal scenario, we have Boba Fett out, an opponent has 1 unit, and we get to play something like a 4-LOM to follow that up, or a Star Viper, or a Boba Fett's armor, and a 2-drop. Like, that is the type of craziness that can ensue. So, Price on Your Head are extremely powerful. We also have some other ways to just trigger the Boba Fett effect in, like, Mach Clunky to return things like Boba Fett or Cloud Rider or these types of cards to our hand to deal some damage. We also have Timely Intervention to give some cards later on in the game ambush, from our Smuggle pile. We also have things like, Boba Fett's armor, Fugitive Wookiee, to kind of smooth out our curve or just give us some massive power on Boba Fett. And in terms of, going towards the more top end of our curve, instead of having Gamorrean Guards in our 4-drop slot, which was always a little bit awkward, it always felt like it was out of place in the Boba Fett decks. That's just because we didn't really have any great 4-drops to play. 4 LOMs in there as a 4/4 ambush, and then it can curve into Zuckuss, which is a 7/7 ambush if 4 LOM is on the battlefield, which is just crazy on turn 5. You can go 4 LOM Zuckuss Boba Fett turn, you're just kind of winning the game. And at the absolute top end of our curve, instead of Darth Vader, which you're normally seeing, we don't actually have that many 3 or less costed units that are villainy. We have like Boba Fett, Super Laser Tech, and Cartel Spacer. So because we have so little hits, Darth Vader is actually pretty weak. It's just a 5/7 ambush. Besides, Maul actually ends up being way more powerful in this deck, usually because it overwhelms, actually gets in damage to opponent's base, and it actually kills things because it's got 7 power, and because it's an underworld kind of themed deck, you can move the damage over to something like a Boba Fett or a 4-LOM or a Zuckuss or a Cloud Rider or Greedo. Like, there's so many different underworld cards in the deck that you can actually take advantage of the secondary ability of Maul, which is to kind of keep him alive or prevent him from taking any big sources of damage. So that's kind of Boba Fett's just solid plays along the curve, very good mid-range deck, some really powerful things that you can do with the additional resources that you have. and we're going to try it out, see how it goes, and play some games. Let's dive into it. Quick note before we dive into our first game, guys. I had to swap out one of the swoop downs for another shoot first because it wasn't working properly. But regardless, we're going to dive into our first one against Han Yellow, and this looks like a pretty decent hand. We have a turn 1 play in Price on Your Head, which doesn't seem like that great, but we also have BOBA FETT, which we could potentially ECL out to kill a unit from Han. We have a Star Viper, which ends up being pretty nice. Also against the aggressive Han deck, and they are playing first, which means we don't have to pass to try to play a Price on Your Head. I'm going to resource that Timely Intervention, and I probably will resource the 7 Fleet to give us a ground option and a space option. And generally, they're going to play either a really powerful card on turn 1, or they're going to play a, you know, kind of, well, not necessarily like weak card, but a couple different like weaker cards, I should say. We're just going to Price on Your Head, and ideally we draw Super Laser Tech next turn, because if we do, boom, we just kill the Coruscant Dissident, and we are able to be off to the races. There's a Timely Intervention, which we might be able to resource that if we want to get some more value in the later game, because we potentially, you know, play this for 1 and smuggle out something, or ambush like a BOBA FETT or a Star Viper if we wanted to do that. But I think actually we're just going to go ahead and resource the Timely Intervention and play for the longer game and maybe smuggle those out, because we have some decent plays already, like BOBA FETT here into BOBA FETT's armor potentially. I don't mind that play. If they attack with a Coruscant Dissident, then I think I'm okay with trying to go ahead and ECL out the BOBA FETT. But in this spot, I'm just going to play a BOBA FETT. They can play Coruscant Dissident, ready a resource, and, you know, play another play. Honestly, I'm not really scared about them kind of trying to flood the board or anything like that, because we have really, really good ways to kind of bring it back and ways to leverage our additional resources. So, for example, if we like draw Overwhelming Barrage, or we can kill this Coruscant Dissident and flip BOBA FETT early, we can start clearing out their board with just our overstated units. We get to go ahead and claim initiative here, which is really nice. And we didn't have to use ECL, which is pretty nice as well. Let's see if they have a 4-drop that they can play for 3 resources, because that would be ideal. Looks like they have Akira. Okay. Yeah. They can name something. I suppose they have to type in chat here. Kira is pretty solid. I like this card a lot. It's very disruptive, but it's a 3/3 in this spot, so not that strong. They can name BOBA FETT's armor, and if they decide to do that, yep, they do. We cannot play it on the BOBA FETT, but that's okay. We didn't really want to do that anyways, and well, we want to try to flip the what's it called? The flip the BOBA FETT before we play BOBA FETT's armor anyways. Super Laser Tech was a great draw. We're just going to ECL that out into the Coruscant Dissident, I think. But I'm actually going to start off with killing Kira. And the reason for this is they're going to want to play something before they attack with Coruscant Dissident so they can ready a resource. And they probably want to use their Leia to kill my BOBA FETT so that I can't BOBA FETT's armor, is probably what they're thinking. And that means that we don't take any damage, which is pretty relevant because they are the aggressors here for sure. And then we're going to have a million resources to deploy our entire hand once we ECL out this Super Laser Tech, which is really, really nice. We're going to have a BOBA FETT with BOBA FETT's armor and a Greedo. Oh, they're okay. They're going to go with that plan here. Kind of interesting, to be honest. So let me think about this. If we ECL out this Super Laser Tech, we kill something, we essentially get 2 more resources, so we're up to 5. So we get the 1 from Super Laser Tech and the 1 from BOBA FETT. So we're up to 5 resources. And then we have enough to basically play everything. So I think we just start us off with the Greedo, with the expectation that we're going to be able to play everything that we want this turn anyway. So I'm just going to play out a Greedo just to see what they decide to do. We could have ECL'd something out potentially. Let's see what they decide to attack here, kill off. Maybe they hit the base. Maybe they don't. I imagine they're just hitting base because that's kind of what you need to be doing here. Okay. Yeah, I think we just go ahead and ECL out a Super Laser Tech and kill their Dissident, and boom. Wait. Yeah, we get the 2 resources back. Now we're going to have the BOBA FETT flip, and we can BOBA FETT's armor, which would be pretty nice. Yeah, they're gonna action out something. Let's see what they play. It's a Poe Dameron. Okay. Well, we're gonna flip Boba. We're gonna play Boba Fett's armor, and we're gonna kill Poe Dameron. Not exactly, especially close. We needed this guy to get rid, or get this guy off the battlefield. And they're saying GG. It's probably GG because they can't really do anything about, you know, a 6'5" Boba Fett with Boba Fett's armor. All right, they said GG. Cool. I did math wrong there. I thought I could play the Star Viper as well, but I suppose not. It ended up being pretty good though. I mean, we kind of just blew our opponent out of the water in terms of how much value we got, right? We got early Boba Fett a turn earlier, which is not out of the ordinary, but they couldn't really do anything. I felt like we were never losing that game. It wasn't even close particularly. So that's always nice. We also have the Fett's Fire Spray to follow up. I mean, this turn we were going to go Fett's Fire Spray, attack for 5, 8, 11, 17. Like, that's a ton of damage. And then we probably end the game next turn. And we could also, you know, potentially have killed one of their units to play a spacer and then exhaust something. I don't know. I mean, we probably wouldn't have exhausted because we would have killed a Leia most likely. But anyways, pretty nice showing, and it's on to game 2. All right, we're against a Boba Yellow player, and this is a pretty reasonable hand, I would say. Like, we have the 4-Lom, we have a turn 1 play, we have a turn 2 play, we have the Fett's Fire Spray. I don't think this is like, this is a spot where it's like, yeah, I could mulligan into a better hand, but I could also mulligan into a far, far worse one. Here, do I resource both Fett's Fire Spray? I think that's a little bit awkward. I think I actually resource the Overwhelming Barrage. It feels always so bad to resource Overwhelming Barrage, but I kind of want all my units here. And it's very possible I just go ECL the Super Laser Tech just so I could accelerate into Boba a little bit quicker. Ooh, Dr. Evazan, huh? All right. Yeah, we're going to claim initiative here. Dr. Evazan is okay. Honestly, not like that great, to be fair. I'm not really too worried about that. And here, I'm just going to go ahead and attack their base. I mean, if we're trading 3 for 3 here, I'm happy with that. It's not like I have anything realistically to take advantage of the 12 resources anyways at the current moment. Play a Super Laser Tech and see what they play. 4-Lom potentially could be pretty good here. We can get a lot of resources here. So if we think about this, they're going to waylay. Okay? That's like really weak, to be honest. I'm really not worried about that at all. Okay. Zuckuss and a secondary Zuckuss. I think we could resource probably the... I mean, we could... probably just the Zuckuss, to be honest. I think I would rather keep the Cartel Spacer in hand. So I can ECL out... I like ECLing out the Super Laser Tech just to get our resource here. This allows us to deploy Boba this turn and potentially get some massive value because we can go Cartel Spacer, kill their Evazan. Okay, so they're in Mock Clunky. That's fine. No. So that kind of changes things. Let's go Boba Fett. They're playing, it's like a little awkward what their opponent's doing. They're definitely more the tempo style of deck, but I think we are heavily advantaged if we play this sort of like, okay, play the longer game, tempo out. Because we could go 4-Lom into Zuckuss, kill their Boba. We have nothing for them to take with Bodhi, which is like really insane. So now we get to go 4-Lom, ambush, kill, and then, I mean, we are in an amazing position. We probably get rid of either the... Well, I mean, we can ready up 2 resources after playing like a Fett's Fire Spray. So maybe Cartel Spicer is the one we want over the Consortium Star Viper. Yeah, our opponent... It just hasn't really matched up well for them. And now, like, if they get their Boba down, we can just Zuckuss and kill it, which is pretty absurd, right? I think I immediately attack with 4-Lom if I have the option. Okay, that makes a good amount of sense. We just go ahead and play a Fett's Fire Spray. And I mean, we are just going to get in for massive amounts of damage here. I'm going to attack for 5. I'm going to attack for 4. I'm going to attack for 4. They can play another thing afterwards, but we could potentially overwhelming barrage if they play something here. They're going to waylay. All right, like this is like not a big deal. I'm not worried about this. We're going to play a cartel spacer, use up our resources here. Boba Fett's armor was a pretty good draw at this point in the game. So I think we get rid of probably the Zuckuss at this point. We can't ECL it out, and I think we can win the game with what we got going on. And now I kind of want to set up a Boba Fett's armor plus overwhelming barrage on our Boba Fett. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to start off with a Boba Fett's armor. Okay, they're going to relentless pursuit. So they have a shield token on this thing. Okay. I'm not really too worried about that, to be honest. There's a Dr. Evazan. Interesting. Let's go ahead and hit their Boba Fett. We only take 2 damage. And then we get to overwhelming barrage. Boba Fett. So we deal 1 here, 7. And we get our cartel spacer back. Yeah, I don't think we're losing this game. Our hand is pretty good. Pretty good. Probably get rid of the cartel spacer here because I want to keep the Zuckuss in hand because we actually have the resources to potentially just deploy it if we like kill their Dr. Evazan or something crazy happens. We can ready an absurd amount of resources here. Surprise strike into our base. Okay, let's go ahead and get a Fett's fire spray down. We're going to waylay it. All right, that's fine. We're going to kill your Dr. Evazan, ready a bunch of resources, so we get to just replay it. We get to hit the cartel spacer. We get to play a... We can play Fett's fire spray or Zuckuss plus Consortium Star Viper, and I think I'm going to go with the everything. Play everything. Can get rid of a Boba Fett's armor here. I mean, this... I don't even know, like, what they can really do in this spot, you know? Let's just hit in for 3. They play a Bodhi. It doesn't matter. We don't have any events. We just kill them. And we don't have to do anything else. Cool. All right, GG. That was a pretty not close game, I'd say. Like, yeah, we're on 20 HP. We could have like got in and tried to kill the Greedo or whatever. Like we could have gone a more defensive route. The Relentless Pursuit could have been pretty good, right? Relentless Pursuit is interesting. It is an interesting card for sure. I do think it's actually pretty good in double yellow, but this like idea of like trying to return stuff and kill my units when I'm playing the green deck, it's kind of a little bit awkward because I get to get everything a little bit sooner and I get to play the more expensive stuff and get more value out. So you don't, it's kind of rough to play that game against me. But Dr. Evazan, this is one of the reasons why I don't have it in this list is I've found that the resource readying is extremely bad in certain spots. Like there, if they had not, balanced their Dr. Evazan, like I would have gotten some major value. And, well, that's one of the reasons why I found Dr. Evazan to be kind of mediocre in a lot of these lists, but they triple waylaid us. So good on them, I suppose. Let's get on to the match number 3. All right, on to the third game, and we are not going to take a mulligan. We have a couple of turn 1 plays. Probably going to resource the Cloud Rider and the Timely Intervention. And then we have the Price on Your Head, which could work pretty decently here. I think we don't, try to do anything fancy and like pass and hope they have a turn 1 play. Palp Yellow sometimes does it. They usually do, but sometimes they don't. Here, pretty simple. I just go ahead and claim initiative. We play our Fugitive Wookiee, and, well, we can get down our Boba Fett probably here. I think that's probably what we're going to want to do. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and straight up kill the Yularen. This is a pretty free trade here, and then we can get down the Boba Fett. Don't really need to shoot first or anything. I think I could save that for a little bit later. And Boba Fett's armor on the Boba Fett could potentially do some work here. They are going to Price on Your Head and probably try to set up some sort of palp play plus action defeat, get the 1 damage over to the Fugitive Wookiee. Here, I think I go ahead and resource a Cartel Spacer. See what they've got. Resupply. Okay, resupply is fine. Let's go ahead and hit with the Fugitive Wookiee. they've passed. Let's go ahead and put Boba Fett's armor on Boba Fett. Let's hit with Boba Fett. I don't really see a reason not to. Don't really see a reason not to. What do they have for one resource? A Greedo. Salacious Crumb. Okay. They can bounce it back to deal 1 damage to the fugitive Wookiee. I'm just going to claim initiative and kill it with Boba Fett. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense on how they decided to do that. I don't think. They could have probably just taken initiative, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal for them because well, I mean, we could shoot first with the fugitive Wookiee on the Salacious Crumb. I'm kind of tempted to do that. Yeah, well, why not? Let's do that. This allows us to kill the Crumb. They don't get the ramp from the fugitive Wookiee, and they kind of have to play something else. We get to exhaust Boba Fett so we can make sure we maximize our resources here. My guess is that I'm going to have to go Overwhelming Barrage on our Boba Fett to do some work here. Let's go ahead and deploy our Boba, see what they've got. I don't really want Boba Fett taking any damage. I'm going to claim initiative. Interesting. Let's go ahead and Overwhelming Barrage. I think it's actually worthwhile just to kill off this attack, get down Greedo, and then just overrun them. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because this makes sure that they have to have a unit or some sort of other thing to get the price on your head. Oh, they're going to take that. Okay, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. I think we just go ahead and hit their base here. Change of Heart was a really good one for them because they can sack the Boba Fett to deal 1 damage to something. Such an amazing card here for sure. We get to go ahead and hit for 4, hit for another 3. They're going to kill the Greedo, steal the fugitive Wookiee, or they're going to kill the fugitive Wookiee. I don't know, exhaust the Greedo. They have a couple options. They can deploy Palp, kill my Boba Fett. They got some options for sure. Change of Heart was a really good one. I probably should have, instead of attacking with Boba, could have attacked with a Greedo. That's probably the better play there. We get a Consortium Star Viper down, and now again they are like under immense pressure. But them taking the Boba Fett, that was a good one for sure. Like that was a pretty sweet one with the Change of Heart. Salacious Crumb is a nice little addition to this deck. I've been playing Palp Yellow quite a bit, and it's fun for sure. Salacious Crumb could be a little nice addition to that one. Ooh, interesting. Let's go ahead and just resource the Boba Fett's armor, and I'm gonna attack with Greedo first, and we're gonna see what they've got. Because here they kind of have to deal with a few different things. Like they need to get some sort of 3-drop in space that can deal with my Consortium Star Viper. And even if they do, we have the ball to finish something off. Wow, they hit the Black Sun Freighter. All right. That is kind of absurd. That is exactly what they needed. But it doesn't matter because we just killed him with Maul. So in that spot, if like we had Darth Vader, there's a very good chance that we probably could have still won. But you can see there, that's why Maul ends up being pretty useful in a lot of situations. But like they needed like the Black Sun Starfighter. That is exactly what they kind of needed. They needed a Sentinel in space, and that's what they got. So a pretty sweet one with the Darth Vader. But yeah, I mean, sweet deck. Could have attacked with a Greedo, I think. Got a little bit more value, but yeah, pretty simple stuff in that one. All right, and the next one is against a double blue Gar Saxon deck. Ooh, Gar Saxon's pretty sweet, guys. I've been trying to build this one out, but not all the cards are really functioning on Carabas right now for Gar Saxon, so I'm excited to see what this guy's pulled together. But the Security Complex coming out, I think Security Complex is excellent in Gar Saxon, at least from what I've played with so far. This one's going to be a mulligan. We have no turn 1 play and just overall pretty weak hand. This hand's okay. We're going to go and resource that Timely Intervention and see if we can get some something going. I think I just resource the Timely Invention and the Shoot first, and we just play out a Cartel Spacer on turn 1. Not a whole lot of excitement going on here. Would have much preferred like a Fugitive Wookiee or something like that to get down. Okay, this is actually a pretty nice little combo going on. We got the trick to bounce the Spacer to kill the Inferno 4 and then replay the Spacer. Okay, they have the Black Sun Starfighter. Let's just bounce this, kill the Starfighter, and then replay the Spacer. Just play this the 7th Fleet Defender actually here because we can ready a resource. That's probably just worthwhile. Like, that's probably just better. We can also ECL out, or not ECL out, but Timely Intervention out the Cartel Spacer here. We have a couple in the resource pile here. So I can get rid of probably Cloud Rider, I think is the weakest card here. If they don't do anything, I probably will just kill their Inferno 4 with my 7th Fleet Defender, because they're an upgrade based deck, so they need units on the battlefield. So it kind of makes sense to just kind of get rid of them. We can follow it up with a BOBA FETT. I did want to go ahead and kill it immediately, because in case they had some sort of upgrade, they might have played it initially, so we could have gone like BOBA FETT, kill it to play Cartel Spacer, so maybe that would have been a little bit more worthwhile. But I think this is like the safest option to avoid any sort of upgrade whatsoever. Childson is a 6/6. Okay. Interesting. What do I want to do here? I think I just want to play the Cartel Spacer. They could put a shield on it, and if they do, we can ECL out the Zuckuss. Oh, I'll exhaust the Childson. And claim initiative. Okay. Makes sense to me. We get a Cartel Spacer part 1,000,000. And a Fugitive Wookiee. I think Fugitive Wookiee's looking pretty weak in this spot. Oh, it's a 5/5, not a. I thought it was 6 power for some reason. No, it's a 5/5 Childson, but it's got experience, so it's a 6/5. Nice. I think Fugitive Wookiee's weak. We can Overwhelming Barrage, kill the Childson, attack for 5. That looks pretty good. And then we can play a Cartel Spacer or a BOBA FETT, follow that up. I think that's pretty good. I think that's what we're going to go with here. Vigilance, kill your 7th Fleet and put a shield token. Okay. So that's what they decided to do. We're going to go ahead and hit their base for 2. I'm going to go ahead and ECL out a Zuckuss and kill their Childson. And then we get to deploy Boba, attack, get another BOBA FETT on the battlefield. And I decided to do it that way because they ended up investing a ton into their Childson, and I think this is just a little bit more valuable in the long run. Here we can get rid of the Super Laser Tech. I don't think that's going to really do all that much at this point in the game. Clan Saxon Gauntlet looking okay here. They can give a shield token to it. They're going to claim initiative. All right, we're going to go with the Overwhelming Barrage, kill the Gauntlet here. Attack, Greedo, Spacer, pass. And then, well, looks like we win. I think they should have put a shield token on their unit, and then we wouldn't have gotten in for additional 2 damage because we would have attacked first, got rid of the shield token, then blew up their Clan Saxon Gauntlet. But pretty interesting deck. I mean, I was worried about Vigilance coming down on 4. But I think they had a weak curve. They didn't really have any upgrades that we had to really worry about. And Gar Saxon was just too slow, right? We just kind of pushed through and killed them, right? Zuckuss, really valuable. The Saboteur there was immense. If that was like a Steadfast battalion, game would have been like probably over. Like I don't think we really would have gotten through the Childson very easily, especially if they put another shield token on it. So pretty nice. Looks like for our next game, we've got a little bit of a mirror match, except, well, I should say mirror match, but mirror Boba, and then they're Boba Blue, and we are Boba Green, and our hand looks reasonable. You know, we got the little Greedo bounce combination. We have a Super Laser Tech, which is really good against blue in general, ramping into stuff. I think that we just keep this. We probably resource. I think the Spacer is an option. The BOBA FETT is an option. The Forlom is an option. I think we don't mulligan because we do have the Super Laser Tech in hand. And I think we resource the Spacer and the BOBA FETT. Gives us kind of the most potential going forward. And if they do kill our turn 1 play, we would much rather them kill the Greedo than the Spacer. So I think that I like our situation here. So we have to go Greedo, bounce it, kill their unit, replay Greedo. So pretty nice little 1-2 there. So they put one on top, one on bottom, so they even get half value out of the Inferno 4, which is kind of cool. We also have, well, no timely interventions. They put one card on bottom, one card on top, replay the Greedo, and then we pass. What a turn, what a turn. We could probably resource one of these Forloms and hope that our opponent doesn't interact with the Forlom into Zuckuss combination. That's always sweet to see. Looks like our opponent's going in with the Crafty Smugs. Crafty Smugs, huh? See what they got to follow it up. We're just going to go ahead and attack their base and then play a Super Laser Tech. See what our opponent's got. I mean, they probably have something here for one resource if it's taking this long. We're just going to hit their base here. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to play a Super Laser Tech and pass. There's a secondary Zuckuss. I think we actually keep that around because I have a feeling we're going to go ahead and ECL one of these out and probably have it die. So we'll see. Oh, they're going to hit our base. Okay, we're going to hit their base. I am totally fine trading damage like this. 7th Fleet Defender. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit their Crafty Smugs because we actually want to deploy Boba this turn. Forlom, ambush, flip, attack. Can't play anything else. But that's okay. It's okay. This kind of sets up for this next turn here. I do want to keep another Zuckuss around. It may seem a little bit awkward, but this matchup, I have a feeling we're going to have to get a Zuckuss down and it's going to die. And I would rather have a secondary one than a fugitive Wookiee. But there is some, merit to keeping a Wookiee down because we can potentially go Zuckuss and Wookiee in this turn. The other thing about Wookiee is it's really, really weak in the early game. Or it's really, really weak later on in the game because exhausting units actually something that is kind of a big deal. But it's a lot stronger in the early game. So exhausting unit could potentially be pretty bad. But I mean, we are in a great spot here because if they don't kill our Forlom, then we can Zuckuss, ambush it out, and kill their Boba Fett. That just goes to show you how strong this card is. Now, I am attacking with it first. And the reason for that is even though I can get +1/+1, then let's go ahead and kill the Greedo and see if we get a non-unit. Okay, we didn't. But the reason I'm doing it this way is because even though I can get +1/+1, they need, if we are able to play Zuckuss and kill their Boba Fett like this, then there's no way we lose this game. Like, it is absolutely a nightmare for them. I don't really see how they could possibly ever win this game at this point. And I will go ahead and keep the Greedo, I think, in hand, Zuckuss, and the Maul. And I think I'm going to resource this timely intervention, give us a little bit more value later on. It's just we don't need it, right? Maul is ambushing, Zuckuss is potentially ambushing, and if not, we can ECL it out. And then Greedo is just kind of a free play this turn, potentially. So, yeah, I don't really see how we're losing this game at all. We just kind of one-shot their Boba Fett. Like, it wasn't even fair. Forlom Zuckuss, guys. I mean, if you get the 1-2, it is disgusting. Maul can come down, deal a massive amount of damage. So, I mean, that's pretty sweet. I'm going to hit my Boba Fett. All right, we're just going to hit him for the most damage. We're just going to hit it from 7. I think that's the most valuable thing we could do at this point. Take down my Boba. All right, well, we kill you. Cool. That's going to be the next game, guys. That was pretty insane. That was the Forlom and Zuckuss show, if I've ever seen one. That was a pretty sweet turn 1 as well. Kill your unit, play a Greedo, or play a Greedo, kill your unit, play a Greedo again. You can only really do that in Boba because you get the 3 resources on turn 1 if you kill something. So pretty sweet. And, well, on to the next game. I'm really hoping we can do a turn 1 Boba here, but this hand looks pretty bad. We have double 7-drop Fett's Fire Spray, like nothing to interact with the price on your head, and just overall weak hand. This hand's pretty good. We can resource probably the Fett's Fire Spray and either Cartel Spacer or Greedo. And I think I go with the Cartel Spacer because I actually do want the extra power here. And Greedo could potentially clear out any ground units that might be upgraded by Gar Saxon. Looks like against Gar Saxon green. No ECL though, and I mean, ECL is just so insane. It's hard to pass up on it, I'm going to be honest. Let's see what they got on turn 1. They can have some removal spells like, well, Power of the Dark Side or takedowns or things like that. Of course, you always have to think about that when you're in against blue. Incinerator Trooper. Oh. Ooh. That is a prime ECL target with the Super Laser Tech. I think I'll get rid of the Cloud Rider here, and I'm going to ECL out that Super Laser Tech like it's nobody's business. And that just kind of forces them to make some sort of play, and hopefully we can trade in it with Greedo and then replay our own Greedo. But let's just go ahead and ECL this guy out and kill their Incinerator Technician or Incinerator Trooper. Anytime you have an option to kind of just get an obvious, really nice value play there, it is super nice. Let's go ahead and kill or hit them for 3. They're going to take initiative. Okay, we're just going to pass and let them do their thing. I think we get rid of the Greedo here. Playing Price in your head, not really that scary, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not exactly very scared of that card here. They're passing. All right, we're going to attack with Greedo. Seems like a pretty free attack here. Follower of the Way. Yeah, I'm not scared of that either. I think we go with probably just the 7th Fleet Defender at this point, because we can get down Boba, put a armor on it, and, well, putting a devotion on this is like asking to lose at this point in the game. We're just going to ready up Boba. We're going to put a Fett's armor on him, and we're just going to hit this guy and pass. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Let's get rid of this Boba Fett. And, I mean, our opponent is under a lot of pressure here. There is a Survivor's Gauntlet. Interesting. So that's all they can play this turn, and we just get in for a ton of damage. So we attack, we play a Zuckuss, and we pass. There's another Zuckuss, which I think we can probably resource at this point. And then we have a Fett's Fire Spray, which looks pretty good here. Don't really know what their plan is here. They haven't really done anything. Incinerator Trooper. This one's hopeful. I think this card's pretty bad. Like, obviously, in the ideal scenario, you're going to be able to go ahead and just trade with everything. But the problem is that there's so many things that just absolutely hose it, like an ECL'd Super Laser Tech. And that was a pretty easy game. It wasn't particularly close. They didn't do a single damage to us. They didn't even claim their bounty. We didn't lose a single unit, actually. Right? Yeah, we didn't use a single unit. It was like pretty straightforward, pretty easy stuff. All right, so once again, we're against Gar Saxon green, and this is the hand that I'm looking for. I'm going to go for the high roll. I'm not going to mulligan, and I'm not going to have anything to play on turn 1 besides Price on Your Head. But hopefully our opponent has something that we can Price on Your Head, and then ECL Super Laser Technician, kill it, Boba Fett on turn 2 into, you know, Boba Fett's. And that would be like the dream, right? We're going to go into Resource of Timely Intervention and a Boba Fett because we could really easily, oh my gosh. This looks pretty good for us. I'm not going to lie, guys. Viper Probe Dread is exactly what you're looking for when, you know, we are against, or they're against the Super Laser Tech Price in Your Head type turn. Let's pass. We drew a Cloud Rider, which looks pretty good as well. If they go ahead and upgrade this, maybe that's something we want to consider. I think I just resource the Cloud Rider, however. And I think I just go with, hopefully they don't have an upgrade here. That boosts toughness. All right, well, this is going to be a crazy turn because we get to flip Boba on turn 2. This is, as I said, the dream. We get to flip Boba on turn 2 and then followed up with Fett's Fire Spray the next turn. Oh my gosh, it is gross. It is a disgusting curve. Yeah, I mean, that was just amazing. Yeah, they have a 5 resource play potentially here, but they can't even get down Gar Saxon. So I don't really see them doing a whole lot. And we can go Fett's Fire Spray in the Maul here, which is pretty insane as well. Would have loved to pick up like a Boba Fett's armor here instead of double Zuckuss, because we could have gone like kill your unit, Boba Fett's armor, Fett's Fire Spray, and then we could have used all of our resources. But we'll see what they have. They have ECL, so there is some, way that they could bring this back for sure. It's not over yet, but it is rough for our opponent. Let's say that. Takedown is not scary. I am very not scared of takedown. So that is a totally fine play to make. Against me, I'm again, that is like one of my least scary potential options that they had. Let's go and just resource the super laser tech, and then we can play Maul this turn, and it could just straight up kill Gar Saxon, and that's going to be pretty nice. We'll go ahead and defeat the Fett's Fire Spray and just hit them for 4, and then they're just going to go ahead and go that direction. All right, we're just going to play 2 units here, and then not resource anything on this turn. They could have Super Laser Blast. It's kind of awkward to go Super Laser Blast in your upgrade center deck, but they're also 1 resource away from it, so I don't really see how we lose here. Like, they're playing playing Power of the Dark Side and takedowns and all this stuff in your Gar Saxon deck doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, to be honest, because you really need a high density of upgrades or things that synergize with the upgrade strategy, and abilities to kind of control the board if you're looking to benefit from Gar Saxon. Also, his flip side doesn't really do anything if you don't have upgrades on your units, which is also a nice little benefit of Gar Saxon. So, don't mind playing a little bit of removal, but I've played a lot of Gar Saxon, and having too many can be pretty rough. It's hard to, divvy up your cards nowadays, now that we have 2 sets of cards, for sure. They're playing a Darth Vader. Really not scared of that, to be honest. Also, Viper Probe Droid. Yep, they can't even kill. This is why Darth Vader has gone down for me when Maul has come out, because they're both 7 resource ambushers, but Darth Vader can't even kill any of these. Like, if this was a Maul, they could kill my Boba Fett at least. Not that that would allow them to win the game, but right now we could just straight up kill them, and they didn't even get to kill my Zuckuss. It's over. We had Maul in hand, and we could have just killed their Darth Vader. Again, also another reason why I like Maul here. Boom, if this was a Darth Vader, I'm winning anyways. But let's say this was all cleared out. Everything was gone here except for Zuckuss. Zuckuss is the only thing on the battlefield. And they play a Darth Vader. And, I have to hit them for 6. And I played a Darth Vader after that. I'm still probably in a really good position to win. But, Maul just wins here, which is really nice. Especially when you're playing a little bit more aggressive, focused deck. But that was sweet. And let's do one more before we finish out this video. All right, so we are into our last match, and we're against, Vader Green. Love this deck. I think that deck is sweet, and we have a nice little hand here. Nothing like a price on your head or anything like that, but, nothing that I should be mulliganing. I think we can get rid of probably the Fugitive Wookiee, and maybe it's the Boba Fett, and we just rely on this powerhouse of a Maul here. And then we go Greedo, and then what's nice about this is, even if they play a 1-drop and try to ping my Greedo, we can bounce it, kill their thing. Incinerator Trooper. I don't think that card is very good at all, actually. Let's bounce it, kill their unit, replay Greedo. What a powerful turn 1 play. What a powerful turn 1 play. Claim initiative, we'll play Greedo, pass, and now I think it resets the 7th fleet. I'd rather have this big stuff in hand when I'm holding onto super laser tech. So I'm going to resource that. I could resource one of these 6 or 7 drops, but I think it's pretty bad if we resource Fett's Fire Spray and we draw a bunch of cheap things. It's just super weak. So hit for 3. They're gonna take initiative. We get to go ahead and super laser attack, and then we pass. And look at that, we drew a couple cheap things. I think we just go ahead and resource the Greedo. We can get down a Cartel Spacer and Boba Fett this turn. Pretty weak overall, I'd say, but let's just get in for some damage. They had a resupply here, so they are going to get Darth Vader next turn if we do decide to. Okay, they're going to kill their own super laser tech. Okay, that is one way to go about things. I like it. Let's play a Cartel Spacer, pass. Forlom and Zuckuss, you're a little bit late, my friends. You are a little bit late. Do I want to keep both of them? I don't think so, but I think I do want to keep out the Zuckuss because that is a nice ECL target for us. They're going to put down a Darth Vader. All right, let's hit their base for 3. And if they hit my Super Laser Tech, then I'm going to force throw. Okay. Oh, they're going to discard their own Crate Dragon. Interesting. Get another resource. I do want to discard a card. It is a Fugitive Wookiee. We get to go Fett's Fire Spray. So they discarded their own Crate Dragon. Interesting. Attack. And the reason why I decided not to go with the ECL plan is because I have a Maul. And so if they decide like, oh, I'm going to attack Boba Fett with my Vader, then we get to do 6 damage with the Maul here, which is super, super nice. I think I get rid of probably the Boba Fett's armor here because they're probably going to kill my Boba Fett before I can do anything. Oh, they're Palp's Return. Huh? Okay. They tried to Palp's Return back Crate Dragon, but they can't do that because it costs 9. And Palp's Return also doesn't really do too well with non-force units, so don't think that opponent necessarily knows what's going on over there. They're gonna kill my Fett's Fire Spray. Oh, nice. Okay. I have Overwhelming Barrage. We're gonna hit their base here. And then they're gonna kill my... Really? That's what they decided to do? That seems very strange. I'm just gonna play out a Zuckuss here. What do they have? Open fire? But now would they just lose if they open fire my Boba Fett? I think they got greedy. I think they got really greedy trying to like get damage in and kill my thing. Okay, I mean still, like, we just attacked their base and they're in a pretty bad spot. They should have just definitely killed my Boba Fett. Okay, we will discard a 1-drop. And here we get to go Maul. Kill your Vader, hit you for 1. Okay. Not too bad, not too bad. See what they've got? They could have something here. They could potentially have something. Darth Vader, yeah, that could work. Yeah, phase 3 Dark Trooper. They just have to kill the Maul here. All right, well, that was a mistake. They need to kill the Maul there. If they killed the Maul, then our Boba Fett would have lived, and we would have killed their unit with 4 Llama, and we still would have won. But our opponent just was dead on board by doing that plan, so not exactly the ideal play, but interesting stuff. I mean, this is a very good deck. Very good deck. I've played this one a lot. I don't like the force throws in the list. In my opinion, they're a little bit like awkward. Either you're discarding your own cards to make sure you're killing something, and that means that it's pretty bad because you've already used a bunch of your early game cards to ramp into the cards that you probably could have played anyways, or you're force throwing, just making opponents discard cards because you don't have a force unit on the battlefield. So not a huge fan of force throw, but otherwise, like if that force throw was instead, an open fire, for example, I think the game would have been a lot easier for our opponent, because they could have had potentially the Crate Dragon out. Like what did they force throw for us? They killed our Cartel Spacer, right? That was what they killed in the air with their force throw. I can't remember now. That seems really weak, Anyways, that's going to be the last game, guys. And, well, let's talk about the deck. All right, so what's good, what's bad? What are some things that I would like to change? Some things depending on the meta. Well, one thing for sure, turn 2 Boba is absurd. Okay, priced on your head into Super Laser Tech ECL is a very common thing across a couple of decks I've played, and it is really good. Second thing, Forlom and Zuckuss are absurd. Zuckuss can be the ECL character that you want, and with Saboteur, it can be really powerful. And if you just have Forlom into Zuckuss, it's insane. Overwhelming Barrage is insane as per usual. Moklumki with Grado, that's a really nice turn 1 play. You didn't get to see the swoop down, as I mentioned earlier. It doesn't actually work on Carabas right now, but that can be really powerful, like a Cartel Spacer, killing something off on your opponent's side of the battlefield and not even taking any damage on this thing. Maul is incredible. Maul is incredibly good. It just ends the game multiple times, and you can move the damage to where this thing just keeps on living, which is really nice. The card that I'm kind of the most biggest question mark I'd say in the deck, are the two biggest question marks I'd say in the deck, are Fugitive Wookiee and Cloud Rider. So Fugitive Wookiee is in this deck in replacement of Dr. Evazan. Now, Dr. Evazan in certain matchups is way better, but also in other matchups, it's way worse. So it really depends on kind of where you're in or what you're fighting against. And Cloud Rider, this is a card that's exceptionally powerful against the more aggro decks because it's just a removal card on turn 1, which can be really, really powerful and can also trigger BOBA FETT so you can get a resource back, or on turn 2, for example. And we didn't really get to see Timely Intervention come into play all that often, but this is a card where you're in those mid-range matchups and you draw, your Zuckuss off the top, and then you get to, essentially ECL it out with a Timely Intervention, or you get to ECL out a Fett's Fire Spray potentially, although that's kind of already, ECL, it's readied up already, or a BOBA FETT, or a Consortium Star Viper. That's where it gets really powerful. Most of the games that we fought, we didn't really fight against too many super aggressive decks, so we didn't really get to see that come into play. But overall, I mean, the price on your head, Super Laser Tech combo is really, really nice, and I do think Bobo Green is exceptionally powerful. Forlom and Zuckuss, they are all what we promised, guys. They are pretty crazy. And who knows? Overwhelming Barrage is still a good card. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you all for a video